You're not afraid of intimacy, you're afraid of rejection. Schopenhauer warned us, desire is a battle of wills. Learn how to frame your need as their desire, and intimacy stops being a risk. It becomes inevitable.
In the flickering candlelight of a medieval chamber, two souls stand inches apart, their shadows dancing together on ancient stone walls. Their bodies close enough to feel each other's warmth radiating through the cool air, yet their eyes stubbornly refuse to meet. This is the ancient dance of desire and restraint, the timeless game that has consumed countless hearts across every century of human existence. What you're about to discover will fundamentally change how you understand the hidden mechanics of attraction and desire forever. The most powerful seduction throughout human history has never spoken a single word. It exists entirely in the electric space between touches. It lives in the breath that catches and holds itself just a moment longer than expected, pregnant with unspoken meaning. Psychologists have named this phenomenon the tension of proximity. The closer two people stand without actually touching, the more electric and alive the space between them becomes. Your brain floods with dopamine, the pleasure chemical, the very moment someone enters your personal space with intention. Not from their actual touch, understand this, but purely from the delicious anticipation of what might happen next. The true masters of seduction who have walked through history understood this principle instinctively, without ever being taught. They knew deep in their bones that what you deliberately withhold often becomes far more powerful than anything you freely give. Consider carefully the glance that lingers precisely one heartbeat longer than social convention expects or permits. That single extra second of eye contact communicates more truth and desire than hours of careful conversation ever possibly could. Your subconscious mind reads this ancient signal instantly, processing it before your conscious awareness even registers what happened. It recognizes genuine interest, but far more importantly, your deeper self recognizes the presence of restraint and self-control. And restraint always suggests hidden power. Control, you see, is the hidden currency that underlies all genuine attraction between human beings. The one who can maintain their composure while mutual desire builds and intensifies wields a kind of invisible but undeniable power. Watch carefully now how their hands move when they find themselves near each other in this moment. One hand reaches forward ever so slightly toward the other. The other pulls back almost imperceptibly in response, maintaining the tension. This is the eternal push and pull that ignites true passion between people. Advance and retreat, approach and withdrawal, forever alternating. A dance that requires no learned steps, yet somehow everyone already knows its ancient and irresistible rhythm. Evolutionary biologists have discovered something truly fascinating and illuminating about the nature of human attraction. We are irresistibly drawn to those who clearly show genuine interest in us, but who simultaneously maintain an element of mystery. Complete and immediate availability actually reduces attraction over time, while scarcity and uncertainty increase it dramatically. This fundamental truth explains precisely why the stolen glance creates far more desire than the open and obvious stare. Why the accidental brush of fingers feels absolutely electric compared to the deliberate and expected grasp of hands. Notice now how she turns her body slightly toward him, drawn by invisible forces, then catches herself and restrains the impulse. She desperately wants to appear completely unaffected and in control, but her body's subtle movements betray her genuine interest. He notices this tiny micro-movement that she thought invisible. His pupils dilate slightly in response, outside his conscious control. But still he maintains his careful distance, resisting the urge to close the gap. This restraint is precisely where most people fail. They rush eagerly and impatiently to close the distance between them. They mistake the presence of desire for actual permission to act. True seducers across all ages have understood that desire must be allowed to simmer patiently before it can properly boil. The waiting itself transforms into pure pleasure when approached correctly. Anticipation becomes its own profound and satisfying reward. Scientific research has confirmed that dopamine levels spike significantly higher during the anticipation phase than during actual fulfillment. Your brain, in its ancient wisdom, craves the thrill of the chase far more intensely than it craves the moment of capture. This biological fact explains why relationships that begin too easily and quickly often end just as easily and quickly. The investment of genuine effort and patience in pursuit creates the perception of true and lasting value in our minds. Now observe closely the silent conversation that flows continuously between their eyes, words made unnecessary. She looks up toward him curiously. He looks away as if disinterested. He glances back. She drops her gaze demurely. Neither one wants to be caught looking too long and revealing too much. Yet both secretly want desperately to be caught looking. This fundamental contradiction becomes the very engine that drives attraction forward. The impossible puzzle that humans love endlessly attempting to solve. The voice drops now to barely above a whisper between them. Reduced volume transforms into increased intimacy instantly. Speaking softly requires the other person to lean in closer to hear. It creates a private world that exists only for two. The actual content of the words spoken matters far less than how those words are carefully delivered and received. A slow and deliberately measured pace of speech suggests someone who is genuinely worth the patience of waiting for. Deliberate pauses inserted between sentences create inviting space for the listener's imagination to fill with possibility. What deliberately isn't said often speaks the loudest and most clearly of all the messages we can communicate. The subtle arch of a single eyebrow, the barely perceptible curve of a smile that could mean everything or nothing. These tiny micro-expressions communicate entire volumes of meaning in mere milliseconds, faster than conscious thought allows. We process these subtle signals automatically, long before our conscious mind even registers that any communication has occurred. Your body has already responded physically to attraction before your mind has decided whether or not to be attracted. This is precisely why genuine chemistry between two people cannot be manufactured or forced. It can only be discovered naturally. However, chemistry can certainly be enhanced once found. The proper conditions for deep connection can be deliberately cultivated. Mystery is the fertile soil in which all lasting attraction grows strong roots and flourishes over time. Never reveal absolutely everything about yourself at once. Always suggest that there remain hidden depths yet to discover. The person who seems to possess hidden depths and undiscovered dimensions becomes endlessly and irresistibly fascinating to others, while the one who reveals everything too quickly and completely becomes boringly predictable. And predictability always kills desire dead. Power shifts constantly and fluidly back and forth between these two. This constant flux is the essential truth of attraction. One moment she holds the upper hand completely through her studied indifference and apparent lack of need for him. The very next moment he reclaims that power entirely with a single penetrating observation that reveals he truly sees her. Neither one actually wants to dominate the other completely and permanently. That outcome would simply end this delicious game too soon. Both secretly seek the exquisite and rare pleasure that comes from maintaining perfectly balanced tension between them indefinitely, like a bow drawn completely taut but never actually released. All that potential energy held in suspension becomes the pleasure itself. She touches her own neck absently, seemingly without thinking. His gaze follows the path of her fingers with focused intensity. This instinctive behavior is called preening. These are ancient signals hardwired deep into our biology across millions of years. Drawing attention deliberately to vulnerable areas of the body communicates trust on a primal level. And trust always invites intimacy. He mirrors her posture completely unconsciously, his body speaking the same shared language without any deliberate thought or decision. This natural mirroring creates deep rapport at the most primal unconscious level. Two separate beings becoming unified through synchronized gesture. The charged space between them crackles with countless unspoken possibilities, heavy with potential energy waiting for release. Every single moment of deliberate restraint adds more fuel to the invisible fire steadily building within them both. This timeless principle explains why forbidden love always burns the brightest. The presence of obstacles intensifies the wanting exponentially. Remove all barriers and obstacles completely, and passion often fades surprisingly quickly. We instinctively desire most what we cannot easily possess. The greatest lovers immortalized throughout human history understood this paradox deeply and used it wisely. They deliberately created obstacles and barriers where none naturally existed. Delayed gratification became their refined art form. Time itself seems to slow down dramatically in this electrically charged atmosphere between them. Hours feel like mere minutes passing. The entire world outside the walls of this room ceases to exist completely for both of them in this moment. All the vastness of life has narrowed down to this single electric moment, this charged space between two souls. This complete and total presence is perhaps the rarest and most precious gift one human being can offer to another. In our modern world overflowing with endless distractions, truly undivided attention becomes perhaps the ultimate form of seduction. She feels genuinely and completely seen, perhaps for the first time in her entire life. Not judged, simply witnessed. He feels truly known and understood at last. Accepted fully without any judgment, expectation, or desire to change him. This profound mutual recognition creates a bond between them far stronger than any physical touch ever could hope to achieve. And so the ancient dance continues between them, as it will continue for as long as both choose to keep playing. For this is the true and deepest nature of all seduction. Not conquest or domination, but mutual invitation into shared mystery. Not taking from the other but freely offering. Not demanding surrender but merely suggesting possibilities yet undreamed. That suspended moment between the first spark of desire and its ultimate fulfillment. That is precisely where all the magic lies.